Let's talk about 2 Corinthians chapter 5 and verse 17. Now, there's some translations out there that seem to imply that we are a new creation or a new creature. However, when you look at the verse and you go from the original language, we see that it's actually not us, not the Christian, that is a new creation, but that we are a part of a new creation. So how it reads is, so that since someone is in Christ, a new creation, the old things have passed away. Behold, or look with discernment, that is, understand what you're seeing. All things have become new. It's important to understand that he is doesn't actually belong there. And many of our translations will actually put it in italics, indicating to the reader that that was added by the one who translated it. Oftentimes those are put there to kind of help us understand, but in this case what they do is cause confusion, because it's not a reference to the individual who is in Christ, but actually the Christ. You see, when God raised Christ from the dead, he actually made a new man in which Christ is the head and the church is a body. And you see this over in Ephesians chapter 1, verses 22 and 23. Here it says, in all things he put under his feet and gave him to be head over all things to the church, which is his body, the fullness of the one filling all things. We have him being the head and the church being the body. What is the significance of this? Well, Adam actually passed down the penalty that he received from his sin and his trespass. So his trespass separated him from God in his spirit. We also are born as ones who are dead in our spirit. That is, we don't have a connection to God. His sin resulted in physical death, and he passed that down to us. So therefore, in Adam, we are condemned. Yet when God raised Christ from the dead, what he did was create a new man. Now, this new man is one who passes down righteousness to us. It's one who didn't disobey God, but actually did things correctly. And as a result of that, God raised him from the dead when unrighteous men put him to death. We see over in 1 Corinthians chapter 12 and verse 12, the fact that we are all in one body, and it's referring to the Christ, this new creation that God made. For just as the body is one and has many members, but all the members of the body being many are one body, thus also is the Christ. Not talking about the person of Christ over in 1 Corinthians 12:12. It's talking about the new body, the body that we as Christians are in. So over in 1 Corinthians chapter 15 and verse 45, it says, thus also it is written, the first Adam came to be a living soul, the last Adam unto a life-making spirit. So there's a big difference between being in Adam and being in Christ. Being in Adam, as a result of what he did and what he passed on to us, we actually have a desire to do things that are wrong. We tend to lean towards doing the things that are wrong, even though we know they're improper and they're things we shouldn't be involved with. However, now being in Christ, we actually have the opposite desire. We have a desire to actually do things that are righteous. Now, just like being in Adam, where we can refuse to do things that are wrong, we can also do the same thing in Christ, and that is we can refuse to do things that are righteous. We can choose between the two. See, just because Adam passed down his penalty to us is not an excuse for our own sins, because our own sins are a result of our own choices. Well, it's the same thing with being in Christ. You're now righteous. You now have righteous desires within you. But if you're not going to listen to them, you're not going to get the benefits of those righteous desires. We are a part of a new creation. In that new creation, we are righteous before God. What we should be doing with a proper understanding of that is living a life based upon the desires from that new creation that we're in, seeking to fulfill them, because that's who we are in Christ. We're no longer condemned in Adam. We're actually righteous before God, and our actions should show that.